centers are driving township supervisors across Pennsylvania to push for new zoning rules. Commonwealth Court rules the Pennsylvania Constitution includes a fundamental right to abortion. This and more in the Week in Focus for the Pennsylvania Capital Star. First up, data centers are pushing township supervisors across Pennsylvania to call for adopting zoning rules before they're proposed. These centers are massive buildings packed with thousands of computers, powering everything from streaming to AI. And Pennsylvania is becoming a hotspot with 52 active sites and about 70 more proposed, thanks to its energy supply and location near major population centers. But they use enormous power, sometimes as much as a small city, raising concerns about grid strain and potential blackouts. Does a township have the right to lay down rules for how and if a data center moves into its community? The data center proposals are sparking fierce backlash across the state, with people citing noise, pollution, and heavy water use. Local officials are stuck in the middle, balancing angry constituents with developers ready to sue. There's no one-size-fits-all fix, and each community must write its own rules. Montgomery and Chester County are touted as a guide for a resource. Next up, Pennsylvania's Constitution guarantees a fundamental right to reproductive autonomy, a state court ruled Monday. In a 4-3 decision, the court struck down the state's Medicaid abortion coverage ban as unconstitutional sex discrimination. The court went further than expected, ruling that abortion is a fundamental right under Pennsylvania's Constitution. That means any restriction must meet the highest level of legal scrutiny, and the state has to prove a compelling reason to justify it. The majority said the state failed to meet that bar, and that reproductive choices belong to individuals, not the government. State Treasurer and GOP gubernatorial candidate Stacey Garrity blasted the rulings as misguided and immoral. Governor Josh Shapiro, running for re-election, said after the ruling that the Department of Human Services would no longer defend the abortion coverage ban. I've long opposed this unconstitutional ban, he said, adding that access to reproductive care should never be determined by income. Want to support Pennsylvania Capital Star? Sign up for our newsletter, share this post, or become a donor to back independent journalism in the Commonwealth. And finally, the deadline looms for Pennsylvania home care workers to receive budgeted raises. About 6% of Pennsylvania direct care workers operate independently under participant-directed care without guaranteed benefits like paid time off or health insurance. Now, this means they're employed through an agency, so the person they care for is technically their boss, and the hours are set by the Medicaid Managed Care Organization. Caregivers often lack benefits like paid time off and dental coverage, and the ACA premiums have surged after subsidy expirations. But the latest state budget keeps funding flat, despite bipartisan House support. Now that's a concern as demand grows in one of the nation's oldest states, where the workforce is already short and caregivers are seen as essential. I'm Natalie Bencavanga, and this was your Week in Focus.